welcome to Hold On Mate, episode 3. When exercise becomes more than exercise. And let's hope this one actually records some audio, Ed. So I just want to introduce, take 2. So I'll introduce you to Ed Davidson, who is my guest this week, and I think we've got a fair amount to talk about. Although we spoke for an hour and 5 minutes last time.
Is that how long it was? An hour and 5?
An hour and 5. We didn't record any audio, but I don't see that being an issue, to be honest, with us two. So, mate, I'll let you introduce yourself to those guys out there.
Yeah, absolutely. As I said, good to be here. In terms of myself, I think we met each other through the gym a couple of months ago or so.
Yeah.
I saw online that you had a bit of an interest around men's mental health, which is something that I also have an interest in. So, we got chatting, and obviously the opportunity to just come here and just chat to you about it. I think what you're doing is awesome. I think it's really important. I think it's there's been massive leaps and jumps over the last 10 years or so around men's mental health, but there's still not enough. It's not talked about enough, I don't think, and I just think if we can help in any way anyone out there that might be struggling, then I think it's an awesome thing.
Yeah, I agree. I think I always say that if there's one person who listens to this and decides I'm not going to take my life tonight, I'm going to give it another go, give it another day, then we've pretty much done our job. And anyone else additional to that is a bit of a bonus, isn't it, really? Because one life saved is it's just a better day for everyone around them and that person, hopefully.
Absolutely. And obviously, in terms of, if you're talking about it in terms of statistics, that's obviously the end result that that we're all trying to change. Whatever the suicide stats are, I can't recall them, but it's certainly however many under 45.
Yeah, I don't know the statistics because the whole point of this podcast is to not be the professor or the doctor. Obviously, this is about us, discussing our experiences, our journey, and our chapters. I always call them chapters.
Yeah.
So I look at my life, only more recent years, but I look at my life as a book. So you have good chapters, bad chapters, boring chapters, exciting chapters, and I always feel like there's a little click that happens, and that chapter finishes, and you're about to start your new chapter.
Yeah.
Actually, it's up to you to write your chapter. It's your book.
Mate, that's a really interesting way of looking at it. It's not something, in fact, that's something that I'll take with me from today. Because, I think it is very easy to get kind of caught up in, whatever you're doing at the moment, or however you're feeling is the be all and end all, and certainly, whatever you want to call it, chapters, wave cycles. I've experienced all of those, and certainly what I've learned over 10, 15 years, as you say, is more about how you can control the narrative over the next chapter, and not let it be boring or energy sucking or whatever it is. Because what I was alluding to there over the final statistic is obviously suicide.
Yeah.
I think there's a whole spectrum in between of actually people that aren't necessarily at that stage, but they're in, their life is on kind of some kind of fuzzy mode where they're not actually really enjoying or living what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're just kind of going day to day, and it's not bad enough to to finish it, but it's not kind of a fulfilled existence.
Do you know what? Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about, because I remember calling my mum. I remember specifically one time. I remember calling my mum a few times, but I remember crying down the phone. This is a true story. I remember crying down the phone to her,
Yeah.
and just saying to her, asking her, when am I going to feel happiness again?
Mm.
Because I just don't understand why I wake up and I just hate everything. I have no interest in anything. You know, I don't want to be here with always the comment I made.
Mm.
It wasn't the fact that I thought, I'm going to go and I'm going to take action on that comment, but it was certainly the sense of like, well, I've got no purpose. You know, I didn't understand what I was meant to do with my life. I was in a job at the time that I didn't particularly like. Yeah, so I remember. You're right. You know, it's not about the final action, let's call it, but it's the build up to it as well, isn't it? And
almost the earlier that you can catch it, the earlier you can manage it.
Yeah.
You know, the better for everyone. I do feel that everyone has the right to kind of to live a happy and fulfilled life. And you know, I don't think anyone should be going along thinking, oh well, you know, I just deserve this.
Yeah, or I don't deserve to be happy.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, yeah, I deserve to be, you know, unhappy, or I don't deserve to be happy. It's so many ways people look at it, isn't there? Depending on who you are, because we're all individuals.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's just, it makes me sad. It upsets me and frustrates me at the same time.
And actually, what I've noticed about, you know, my various chapters, as you put them, is that actually sometimes the difference, and I guess this is what we're coming on to, the difference between it kind of being that fuzzy, if you're tuning a radio, the fuzzy, and then the perfect tuning where you can hear it perfectly. Sometimes it's just a very small adjustment.
Yes, and we did speak about this last time, didn't we?
Yeah. Yeah,
we know this. No one else knows this. But yeah, it's such a good sort of analogy, or description of. It's such a fine line. It's a tweak,
and it can be, and a little tweak can create a little bit of momentum in the right direction, give you a bit of focus, as you were alluding to there. You know, sometimes if you don't feel that you've got a purpose or you're lacking clarity, sometimes just taking a push in a certain direction, building a bit of momentum, that gives you clarity around a load of other stuff that's going on in your life. Particularly as we're going to discuss, I think, around movement and exercise, and team sports for me was a big kind of big way of unlocking a bit of a different chapter for me.
No, that's so. Yeah, I mean, you're right. Today, firstly, two things. Number one, it's way too hot for Odin to be sitting in the same location that we're sitting in. And for people that are only listening to this on audio and not video, we are on my roof terrace, which is a pretty cool little space. But it is a sun trap.
It's a little sun trap,
so Ed and I are both squinting because we decided not to wear sunglasses, so we could have eye contact. I don't know how long that will last, but Odin is around somewhere in my flat, probably in the coolest part of the property.
Yeah,
and I can't see him, so
we've seen him a couple of times, hasn't he?
Yeah, he'll be in and out, or you hear him drinking water on the microphone or something. But yeah, back to this podcast and what it's about. So I decided that it was a really cool subject because of your background, which we'll go into. But I've called it when exercise becomes more than exercise. Yeah. And that can be taken in a few different ways. What I suppose the way I kind of wrote that down was exercise is great, and it's a looking buff, or you get a pump on and cool, my body's looking good, or whatever. You might look in the mirror with a 10 kilo kettlebell in there, which is about the biggest weight I can do at the moment. But actually, exercise for me is way more than just exercise, because of the community, because of speaking to, and not just other lads, but the girls and the guys at our gym. The events like the half marathon we all did together recently. Did you do that?
I didn't do that.
It was really good. Yeah. So stuff like that. The kind of extracurricular activities that aren't just part of the membership, let's say. I don't know how you interpret it. We can talk about that, but that's kind of what I meant by exercise becomes more than exercise.
Yeah, and as I was alluding to just now, I think for me it's been a huge journey of understanding what drives certain feelings, and the best description that I the best way that I understood it all, and it kind of all made sense, was I was doing some research for a presentation I was doing at work.
Okay.
And I came across this video by a guy called Simon Sinek, which I don't know if you've heard of.
I have heard of Simon Sinek. I can't.
He's a really interesting bloke. Definitely worth having a look at some of his stuff. His most famous book is called Start With Why. So that's about what your purpose is, why you're doing everything you do. Whether it's for your family, whether it's for some goal. Your why as to why you're doing this is to help men's mental health.
Yep.
The stronger the why, it almost the more relevant the how, you'll make the how happen. He's a really interesting commentator, speaker, author, and he did a video called "Why Leaders Eat Last," and in it he kind of broke down all of the various hormones that we have working in conjunction with each other in our body, which is effectively our own inbuilt survival mechanism. Which I found absolutely fascinating, and I think, as we discussed before, whenever I come across a problem, the way that my brain works is I like to basically deconstruct the problem, try and take it back to first principles, and try and really understand what all the various building blocks are, what I can prioritise, and kind of put it all together and find a solution.
So you'd break it down.
I'd look to try.
The cortisol.
Oh yeah. So the first one is cortisol, and that is basically your stress hormone.
Yeah.
So that's released. The idea is that it's trying to help you to focus and almost fight or flight type mechanism.
Yeah.
And that everyone's experienced it, where it does help you focus either before a race or before a big presentation at work, or when you've got a big deadline that you're trying to hit. But then it can become a big problem where you have it for an extended period of time, like weeks and months, and that's probably what you call anxiety. So differentiating between the two, tuning in with yourself and being like, is this stress good stress, or actually is it prolonged stress that's quite detrimental to my health?
Yeah. Okay, got you. Yeah.
Which I found, which is probably the first instance around kind of stress and anxiety to kind of monitor that. That's quite an easy one to monitor. And then you've got dopamine. The other interesting one is endorphins.
Yeah.
So endorphins is what you get from exercise.
Mm-hmm.
And the original point of endorphins was to mask the pain that you're feeling when you're running. So you're either running away from something or you're trying to hunt something to kill it. And that's why you feel great when you do a run and when you finish a run, and then the next day your legs feel completely shot.
Well, I can definitely relate to that, having done 2 marathons in 7 days this
year. Yeah.
And I could not walk. I mean, I think Chloe's got a video of me somewhere trying to walk up the stairs, which is about 4 steps, back into the hotel. And I just ran the first ever marathon. I only trained once a week on a long run for 4 months, from January to April.
Yeah.
did it in 3 hours 40,
Oh,
which was
that's good.
Yeah, that was
really good.
Manchester Marathon. And as soon as I stopped, I couldn't walk.
Yeah. So there you are.
There you go.
There you go. So the
I'm
endorphins
living proof.
Yeah.
Along with everyone else in that marathon.
Exactly. A lot of people say, they hit the wall or whatever, and willpower gets them through, and then you can't walk the next day. And there you go. That's endorphins.
Do you know what was actually crazy about that? This must be like a dopamine hit or endorphin. Well, endorphins actually, because I know what dopamine hits are. But the last 2K, I was running at like a 4-minute 20 pace.
Really?
Yeah, because I was like, right, I know I've only got 2K left now.
Yeah,
and I just basically sprinted in my way. Sprinted like the last 2K.
That's unbelievable to sprint finish. I mean, I've never done a marathon myself, but from what I understand, to do that in the last 2K, that's going a lot.
It was like something, yeah, but it must be that endorphin. Something endorphins were rushing and the pain just went. But I did feel massive pain in my calves, hamstrings, etc. at around mile 22. 23, and I thought, this is fucking painful. How am I going to finish this? And then I mentally pushed and this is what I love about endurance sport, is the mental strength. And we'll go to your rowing, because this is just cool, what your background and what you've done in rowing. But that mental strength pushed me through that pain barrier. And I think that's why I was like, right, well, now I feel good. I'm just going to smash out this last 2K.
But there you go. And it's like, once you understand all these things, and so, these understanding these hormones kind of can give you a building block as a bit of a process. I say, I like to deconstruct things and put them together. First thing is, monitor your stress. How can you just de-stress? Whether it's overwork or you're taking too much on, or you question, do you need to be hitting that deadline, can it be pushed back or whatever? Just if there's any way that you can de-stress, try and do that. Then the next thing is, go and try and get some endorphins going. Go for a run, go and lift some weights, go and do something that is going to start pushing stuff around your system.
Get some blood pumping.
Exactly. And then dopamine is what you get when you've got that feeling that you've ticked something off your to-do list. It feels good, you get a dopamine hit. But it's also very addictive, and you can get it from lots of other things artificially. So this is why social media is so bad. Gambling, which is a lot of the social media algorithms are based on gambling algorithms. Obviously drugs, alcohol, nicotine, all these things give you a dopamine hit.
Shopping.
It can be.
Do you know what? So, as you know, I got diagnosed with ADHD 2 years ago.
Right, But
growing up, I mean, obviously, the drink and the drugs, after I lost my son, and just went like massively downhill, and then kind of got caught in this whole... It was almost that kind of... that scenario that I'm sure people can relate to, but I didn't even want to do it. It got to the point I didn't even want to do it, but I didn't have anything else to do, and I was kind of bored. And I didn't really want to go out and socialise and see anyone, because I just didn't feel like I was good enough to be in a social environment. So I would sit there and I would talk myself out of not going to buy some beers or not sending a text to the Coke dealer, and then I'd go impulsive, which is the impulse would kick in. And I was going, fuck it, actually.
I'm just going to do it.
Who cares?
Yeah.
And, that definitely made me lose a lot of precious time. By making those stupid, I would call them, decisions. But it was just that pure impulse, because I knew I was so bored and so lonely that I needed that dopamine hit.
I mean, everyone's searching for dopamine, and it can even be a problem. People get addicted to work, and for ADHD, I know a certain amount. I don't know a lot about. I've been introduced to the world of neurodiversity by my wife, actually, she's fascinated by it all, and the different spectrums that people are on. And it's actually been really eye-opening for me, understanding a lot about that, and particularly around ADHD, where dopamine is a big kind of trigger for my.
You're always chasing, but
Yeah.
but one thing for me, when I got diagnosed, it made me understand a lot more about myself.
Yeah.
But it also allowed me to understand about how you can use it in such a positive way.
Yeah, yeah.
And one thing that
Superpower.
it can be a superpower. It's made me, now that I understand it, and I have researched it, and that's my personality is to research everything. If I buy something new, I'll read the whole manual, so I know exactly how every button works.
Right.
Apart from the audio button on the podcast last week.
Yeah.
But the point I'm making is, it really pisses me off when people use it as an excuse. Oh, it's because I'm neurodivergent. Oh, it's because I've got ADHD. Bullshit.
Yeah.
You can be the best at what you do because you're so good at becoming focused on what you're interested in. So if you're doing something you're not interested in, don't fucking do it.
Yeah.
Go and do something you're going to be amazing at, because you will put so much more effort into it so quickly, make it work, your research quicker than a lot of other people, and it is a superpower, like you said. So, it really annoys me when people say, "Oh, well, it's because I've got ADHD, or it's because I'm this, it's because I'm that." And it's not a good enough excuse for me.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more about you're gonna outwork someone at anything if you enjoy it more than them.
Exactly.
Because you get addicted to the process, and we need to be careful about how we use the word addicted, because we know addiction is not necessarily a good thing, and it needs to be monitored and managed. I mean, yeah, I think it's fair to say you need moderation and balance over everything. Focus.
Yeah.
It's good to have an element focus, and you can become, certainly as ADHD, one of the superpowers is hyperfocus.
Yeah.
But it's also important that you're not focusing on something to the detriment of everything else.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm so glad that, to a degree, that podcast that we did for this episode didn't actually didn't work, because it made me take a step back. I was so almost embarrassed to not put episode 3 out on Monday at 7 p.m. as I had told everyone it would be going out, weekly. But what I did, with your help actually, because we were talking afterwards, and with Chloe's help, but what I realised is I was working mega long hours the past few months because of the end of my project that I was finishing, which we've done the opening now, so that's great. Which was on the Monday, so I wouldn't have been focused on the opening because I've been more worried about the podcast going out. So that's good that didn't happen. I had started coaching and training. I'd started training for this fitness competition, which is way more CrossFit than it is High Rocks.
Right.
And I am way more High Rocks than I am CrossFit.
Yeah.
And I really don't like pulling out of things, because I feel like I need to see things through. But I actually made a conscious decision to say, do you know what? This actually isn't for me. I've got other things in the diary that I can focus on. And and I decided to pull out of that. I took 4 days off training. Spoke to my coach, Mike, who you know, and I said, I just can't commit to working full time, training in the morning, then training in the evening. Every day is a double session. Then I do work with the ambassador, with the Royal Marsden Hospital as one of their ambassadors for the volunteering and charity. For the charity team. So I have other stuff booked in, and I found myself getting really irritable, and I think going back to sort of when exercise becomes more exercise, that's the negative side.
But that's a fantastic case of what I was saying about almost first principles there. When you're stressed or anxious, how can you de-stress? Do you need to do that competition that you're stressing you out?
Exactly. Do I really need to do it? Am I a professional athlete anymore?
No. Yeah. It does. It's no one's going to care. Like you're only competition with yourself.
Yeah.
You're only doing it for yourself. So if that's going to screw you over in some way, there's no shame in
No.
in, as you say, like just taking some time off, readjusting and going again and going when you feel good. There's absolutely no point.
Do you know, so just my last thing on this actually, but I don't know if you've been in this situation, but one thing that really made me step back is that, without getting too personal, because I like to keep my relationships separate to this, but I found myself being really irritable, and I found that because I was irritable and feeling a bit more down and not my usual church self, I saw it affecting Chloe, and I saw her not, doing her weird dance that she does in the kitchen, or singing along to a random song that she normally does. And I felt like it, and it might have been me overthinking it, but I felt like because I was waking up in a bit of a shitty mood, or, I just didn't want to go training, which is just the worst thing I can possibly think of doing, is not training. I love exercise, so for it to turn into a chore is just not a good sign for me. But I could see it. I could envision it affecting our relationship and making us grow apart. And for me, I was like, well, that's just not, like, this is just, for me, I love her to pieces, and this is a relationship this is my last relationship, should I say. That's it, this is it for me. So I was like, well, I'm not going to put this in jeopardy. I don't want her to feel pushed away or upset or like she can't talk to me. So I need to now do the right thing for us and for myself, and take a step back from all the things I thought I could do, but actually I was just doing it because, you're right, like you said, no one else gives a shit if I don't do the Zenham CrossFit competition. It's just me who thinks I've let everyone down.
And that's really interesting, because just to finish the bits about Simon Sinek, there are the other things. So you've got cortisol.
Yeah.
You've got what did we say? The endorphins, which you've got to be careful because it's addictive. But if it's addictive in a good way and it's helping you progress, basically it's something that you want to move on to the next thing. You want to progress. You want to get better. Serotonin is what you get from recognition of your achievements.
So is that from other people recognising your achievements? So someone giving you a pat on the back or a clap?
Someone being proud of you.
Yeah, I love that feeling.
It's a human need. We need it. We need recognition that we're providing some value to the tribe.
That is one, I crave that.
And again, that can be used in a positive way or a negative way. So, people that drive around in the latest Range Rover and have a flashy watch and all that, they're trying to basically buy that.
Yeah.
Buy that respect and admiration from other people. But
it's materialistic, isn't it?
Yeah. And it might, and that might buy respect and admiration from some people. But
someone else is materialistic.
Yeah.
and
that might work. That might work for those people. But then there's other people, for instance, in the fitness space, that they want to get respect and admiration from those around them. And it's not necessarily the best time. It's looking at how you might have improved over time.
I think that is it, isn't it? And I always think it doesn't matter how fast you finish that race, but you fucking finished it. You didn't give up.
Yeah.
It's not about the fastest or the quickest, like you said, or the strongest. You don't have to be those people. But if you're the hardest worker in the room, everyone will notice eventually.
But also something that, I think I saw that you posted the other day, is that you can't help but be impressed when people run a sub 3 hour marathon.
Of course, yeah.
Or world records get hit, and of course everyone's gonna, that is what's gonna focus attention on social media and stuff. But I think it's really important for everyone to recalibrate and normalise. A 4 hour marathon is still a fucking good attempt at a marathon. That's unbelievable time for a marathon.
I posted something the other day. Well, I reposted it, I think, but it was that the Runnersphere or something like that.
Oh, is that?
Yeah, it's basically where, to to get up on a Sunday morning and go and run 20k is normal because that's what you see on social media.
Yeah.
And it's bullshit.
Yeah,
to get
yeah,
up
yeah.
and go and run a 5k park run, that is still bloody good.
Yeah.
Even if you do it in, a time that you think is slow. The fact that you did it, you got up, you're still doing so much better than that person who, bought the expensive watch and went and spent £5,000 on a table in a place in Mayfair and then woke up this morning because they got a headache from doing too much coke.
Yeah.
You're still doing better than that guy.
Even if you go and walk it, you've still shown up and you've done something. So that's serotonin, and then the last one, which I think is really interesting, is oxytocin. And oxytocin is almost like the love hormone that you get, that engenders trust between people, and it's what you get when you get it from being around people that you like and trust.
So this is what you said about if we were watching a movie together, but together rather than separately.
So if we were watching a movie now, we could be watching that same movie in if I was at home and you were at your home, watching the same movie, but because we're together, sitting next to each other, somehow it just feels better. Being around people that you like and trust, that's releasing oxytocin. Obviously, you're releasing, pregnant mothers release loads of it, when they have a baby. And the whole idea is to kind of create this love and trust. So you have a bond with your family, with your friends, and ultimately, as we bond, we're stronger if we're working for each other.
Yeah. Well, that makes sense, really, doesn't it?
So and you get it when when you hug someone, it releases oxytocin. Even when you give someone a handshake, human touch is really important. So it's funny, and talking about when you said when you do something that you enjoy, you'll be more successful at it.
Yeah. And
that was one of the biggest changes for me in relation to exercise, because I did a lot of sport when I was at school.
You've got an impressive background. Let's explain your rowing background.
So at school I did all sorts of sports, and then my main sports I ended up were rugby, but probably predominantly rowing. I ended up doing a lot of rowing. I happened to be the right build for it. I was the right height.
How tall are you? Because I'm 6'2".
Yeah. So I think. Well, I don't. I'm 6'3.5".
Okay, all right. I thought you were taller than that. I thought
I do. Sometimes I'll say I'm 6'4", but technically I think I'm
Saturday nights
6'3.5".
6'5".
Well, When when I did have dating profiles and things, I think it probably just rounded it up. But So ended up doing a lot of rowing and ended up doing quite well at it. Ended up rowing for Great Britain in the end, which was great fun. And we won with the crew that I rowed with. We won a couple of gold medals. So that was fantastic.
So gold medals are awesome to win, regardless of what it is. So what were your golds? What races were they?
So it's actually something called the Coupe de la Jeunesse, which is...
that just sounds super posh.
Rowing is inherently a posh sport.
It's all to a Croydon boy here. I'm as posh as they come.
We flew out to Cork and we rowed for a couple of days in this regatta, everything just went really well. We had a good week's training beforehand. We were guys that were just put into a boat together for a week before we started racing. Yes, we had about a week's training, and actually so we'd had trials for the week before that, and then we went into a week's training. And I remember in the trials session, I'd done quite badly initially in terms of my initial kind of racing. So a lot of it is down to who your partner is and how well a lot of it is done on rowing machine times, and then
as in like the ones in the gym?
Yeah.
Oh, right,
So to get through the first stages is, I mean, it's a pretty good way of narrowing it down. It's just if you're hitting certain metrics on the row machine across 5k, 2k, then you're in contention, in consideration. And then we went up to Nottingham and did some trials, and I hadn't performed that well, to be honest, in a lot of the trials. And it came down to the final day, and I was like a man possessed, I think.
This is crunch time now.
It was crunch time, and I was rowing out of my skin. We were doing something called seat racing, which is a way of assessing how quickly you move the boat. So they'll pitch you against one other person. So you'll have two crews, and then they'll swap literally one from each crew.
Yeah.
And they'll do two races. So one with you in that crew, and then swap you, and one with you in that crew, and then they can compare you against the other to see who's making the biggest difference.
Yeah, it's got to be. Yeah.
And it literally came down to the final seat race where they said, I remember the guy's name. It's a guy called Leo Carrington, and he said it's Ed Davidson against Leo Carrington. This is for your seat in the G squad, and I absolutely smashed him. I remember I was just like a man possessed, and then got into the squad, was rowing in the Cots 4, and we had a very successful regatta.
Yeah, that's awesome. So what's your pace per 500 on the row machine now? Seeing as we train for high rock events and
it depends. I mean, the training we do is very different. But
if you do one kilometre,
this is interesting. I was actually my best 2k time when I was rowing. It actually wasn't particularly good by kind of GB standards. Definitely not. My skills were more in my technique in the boat and being able
team.
And with the team, yeah. So I used to do about a 6:30 2k.
Yeah, that's bloody hell. That is great.
So that's just about between 135 and 140 on the. I think it's like 137 or something.
Yeah, that
is a split
quick.
Time.
Yeah,
for 2000. Yeah. I was actually eyeing up in the gym what the record is, and it's 6:41.
Is it? Well, we've got testing week starting.
I know
tomorrow.
we got testing week next week, and
you need to get your picture on the board.
Yeah, I was looking at all of the other pictures. That's the only one where I'm thinking, I'll be able to do that.
Yeah,
but
I might not have the ski.
You fancy yourself on the ski?
I fancy the ski.
Yeah.
I don't know what the time is. I need to look on Wednesday when I'm there.
Yes, well, there is one for the ski. I think that's like 7 minutes and something, which is still that's 1:45, I think.
1:45.
Yeah.
We shall see.
Yeah. So that was kind of my sport, and then I went to university and I played a bit of rugby at university. But I think, to be honest, I'd kind of had enough of training and restriction, because that was all the way through my teenage years that I was missing out on lots of things that teenagers do. And
did you find that you almost came a bit resentful towards doing that? I mean, that's just because that's how I felt.
I mean,
from my background,
what's in martial arts?
So mine was martial arts.
Yeah.
I mean, my dad fought for Great Britain until he was about 60 from a young age. Obviously, had a break in between, 2 new knees, but so he was very much judo focused. I got put into judo at 4 years old.
Yeah,
sat in the corner and cried apparently for the first 2 weeks, or 2 sessions, but 2 Saturdays. Might have been 4. I can't remember at all. But then ended up being club champion for a number of competitions and years or whatever. Fought for the South England judo squad. Did jiu-jitsu as well, not Brazilian jiu-jitsu, traditional jiu-jitsu,
Right.
the
Okay.
old school stuff, and then fought in Australia, New South Wales championships, where I think I won one fight and then got knocked out of the competition.
Did you get knocked out?
Yeah, not knocked out as in physically,
Right.
but knocked out
Okay.
of the competition. And that's when I found Thai boxing or Muay Thai,
Yeah.
which I was kind of doing a little bit before, and I'd done a bit of boxing here and there, and and then that's obviously when I found my love for it again. But with the Thai boxing, I went pro, fought in Thailand, which was amazing.
Yeah.
I only lost once. I won't go into it, but that was a fight that I had a change of opponent last minute,
Right.
who was like 4 or 5 kilos heavier, which is a big difference. And
Yeah.
just and I felt it.
Right.
basically.
Yeah. God,
we still won fight of the night. It was still a great fight.
Yeah.
But that in between of fighting as a youngster, I think I stopped when I was like 19 and just lost interest. I don't really talk to my dad anyway, or have a strong relationship. So that resentment was there for the sport, and also I suppose for him a little bit as well. And then at the same time, I found girls, booze, smoking,
all of these.
clubbing, all
Yeah.
that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think we talked about this last time, didn't we? And I can kind of relate to it in terms of what if I think about what was driving me to succeed at that point. A lot of it was coming from a place, from what I would call extrinsic motivation. So I'd kind of been...
It's a strong phrase, isn't it? I like that. Extrinsic motivation.
Extrinsic, I think it's a really interesting concept, extrinsic versus intrinsic motivation, i.e. extrinsic motivation being there's some external factor that's driving you, whereas intrinsic is all kind of self-motivated.
Well, one is you're being pushed by someone else, essentially, and the other one is that you're doing it for yourself.
Or for some, you're doing it for some other reason other than your own just kind of internal motivating factors. And there was a lot about it, when you're playing sport at school, there's a lot of, honor that goes with the school. If you happen to be good, then that comes with a bit of pressure and expectation, and you've got coaches and you've got parents and you've got family and all that sort of thing.
Well, yeah, and also it's cool to be in a school sports team, rugby, football, athletics, whatever it might be. There's
obviously other, the rest of the school, there becomes a bit of a focus around what you're doing, and there's some investment in it. And I think, as I said, after that, I very much kind of enjoyed that whole release of pressure. It's similar to you, I went to university, there was the opportunity to have fun. What I'd known was getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning and going rowing.
Yeah, structure, focus, being told off.
And
getting freezing cold water.
Yeah, and you just think, if I don't have to do that, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to enjoy this freedom. And then there was a long period, kind of through my 20s, I guess, where I had quite a strained relationship with exercise. With my weight, I definitely put a lot of weight on, and then it became a bit of a battle. I went into various battles with my weight.
Just with fluctuation, just up, down, up, down.
Yeah, and I think it's interesting. I think you said something about how you kind of see it as a project.
Yes, yeah.
And there were certain instances where it was like a project to lose weight, and I kind of lost weight, and then I put it all back on.
Yeah.
And Odin's joined us.
Odin.
Hello, Odin.
How are you, mate?
So I was definitely, struggling with where I sat with my fitness journey, and I knew exercise was important, and I'd go through fads of losing weight, going to the gym. Then it would, I'd be like, you kind of probably feel like you've achieved the goal, and then you slowly kind of revert back to where you were.
Oh, mate, I used to do this all the time. And I always say this is not... The first part's motivation, but the rest is discipline, and that's why people start and stop all the time.
But this goes back to the point what you're saying, that if you enjoy what you're doing,
Yeah.
then you almost don't need as much motivation because you just enjoy it.
Yeah, and I totally agree. And the discipline is getting up or going, not getting up, maybe going to the gym or going to do something that you don't particularly want to do that day, but it's gonna make your day better.
Yeah.
Right? This is how I would describe fitness and exercise for me. But there's so many days where, and this is what I've really struggled with actually by taking a step back the past couple of weeks, is does that make me undisciplined?
Yeah.
Well, no, it doesn't. Actually, it makes you incredibly smart to listen to your body.
Yeah.
So there's a big difference.
But also,
but a very fine line.
There is that kind of probably craving that you had of, you want the endorphins, you want all of the feelings that you get from exercise, and it's that mental battle of, actually, it's probably better for me to take a rest. But once you've developed that kind of, once you develop that enjoyment, it's very difficult to take a step back from it for as long as, for a week or whatever.
Yeah, it was. But I slept. As soon as I had a good sleep, and my smartwatch said recovered, 100% recovered, and I was like, oh,
It feels better.
even though, the smartwatch probably isn't as smart as we all think they are, but I did feel in myself, I was like, yeah, I actually do feel recovered.
Yeah.
I feel good. I felt more on it at work.
Yeah.
So yeah, it did feel good.
But then, and I was, my exercise that I was doing then, at points I was like trying to go out to the park and just do little body weight workouts that I had on an app, and just really struggling to get motivated to do it. Every time that I had a gym partner or something, there was a sense of motivation.
Yeah.
But then if they lost motivation, so what was the big turnaround for me was getting back into team sports, and I started playing tag rugby.
Yes, I forgot about this. Yeah.
And what occurred to me when I had just played a game of tag rugby was that I had a really good workout, and I felt really good, and I had all the endorphins, but I really enjoyed it, and I was really wanted to, I couldn't wait to play again.
It wasn't a chore, was it?
It wasn't a chore, and you think of all those times that you're running for a ball, or you're running to score a try, and you're running as hard as you can, not because you're trying to hit a certain time on the stopwatch, or you're told that you need to do these sprints now. Like, you're doing it because you want to do something in that game and you want to win.
Yeah.
And so the more that you can overlay, this is where I put kind of started to understand a bit more about your human needs and how things are ticking certain boxes of your human needs. And when you go and play a team sport, how many human needs is that hitting? You're getting movement, you're getting your oxytocin hit from being working around.
I was just thinking
people.
this. Yeah.
So there's your social needs. You're getting a lot from your social needs. You're getting your dopamine hit from feeling like you're getting better as a team. You're improving individually. You start off as a team and you're losing a lot, and then your performances get better, and then you might start winning, and then you become more competitive, and you can go and play different tournaments, and that's why sport is such a great arena, because you can kind of challenge yourself for as much or as little as you want to.
Absolutely, yeah. And I think a lot of these sports nowadays, maybe not so much team sports, but certainly a lot of the individual ones, you don't have to be the elite fitness levels to compete.
Yeah.
Talk about High Rocks or these types of functional fitness events that they do. I mean, there's loads of them now. Obviously, High Rocks is the original one, but anyone can do that, and also at any age.
Yeah,
I think that's really important, isn't it? That it's great to have that team, that team kind of capacity where you are patting each other on the back.
Yeah.
But also, what I've found about going to do like a High Rocks, for example, is you know, when you're running around, you might have one person from your gym who's doing a race later on or done one earlier, and that almost has that same kind of effect where they're clapping and going, "Go on, you know, go on, Luke," or you're doing the same to them, and it does make you go a bit harder. And it does make you want to do it, and it goes back to again to what you were saying earlier about, you know, intrinsic and extrinsic is you're doing it because you want to do it, not because someone's pressuring you to to do it. And it's all these different things, and it is, you know, the older you get, the more you become aware of it, and also, you know, obviously growing up under your parents' roof, it's, you know, well, my rules, my roof, my rules. So you kind of have to do certain things that they put you in to do, or whether it's school or whatever it might be, but as in like school sports. But when you get older, you get the opportunity to choose, don't you? I suppose. So it's all again, it's all part of the journey.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's it's fascinating when we talk about journey. That's something that my mum used to say to me in my 20s a lot, and she still says it to me now. You know, make sure you're enjoying the journey, and that can be quite difficult to understand when you're quite, you know, goal focused. When you're quite goal focused and eager to succeed and hit certain outcomes in whatever arena that is, whether that's you know, financial or fitness or in business or whatever it is.
Odin agrees, by the way.
What do you think, Odin? Yeah.
Woof.
That's it.
Come here then. Come. Woof. Okay. Sorry, mate.
But that's all right. But I think I used to obsess a lot on the outcome. I used to, you know, almost be like, I can't rest, I can't be happy until, you know, I've hit this goal or whatever it is. And actually enjoying the journey in hindsight and enjoying the process is the best advice you can get.
Oh, without a doubt. What's the point? What is the point of doing something that doesn't make you happy?
Yeah.
There's just no point. There's no point in it. I get sometimes with work you've got to do the admin side, but if you really hate your job, just go and try and find at least something else. I think, you know, there's so many opportunities out there these days, and there's something, you know, I think there is something for everyone. You know, I hate doing admin, but I love my job, so that's different. When you genuinely hate everything about your job, or if you're doing do you know what really annoys me actually is when you see these footballers who are earning 400 grand a week or whatever, and they make minimal effort with, you know, they kind of give up before the game's finished.
Yeah. There's lots of professional sportsmen that, you know, they see it as a job. It's
well, it is their job, isn't it? I suppose.
I mean, sure, lots of people look at them. And
maybe I'm just jealous. That's all it is. I'm just jealous of their income.
I mean, those guys, they're under a huge amount of pressure. You got the whole world watching your performance every week. You know, everyone knows how much you're getting paid, like what your transfer fee was, what your sign. Yeah, it's all there.
Yeah, of course it is.
And then, you know, everyone's, you know, able to see week on week your output.
I mean, you have to be mentally strong though, don't you, to put up with all that. So I do, especially with these athletes, you know, who, I mean, Ricky Hatton, really sad one, but
really,
you know, these
sad.
athletes who are just loved by everyone, and, you know, millions and millions of pounds, or dollars or whatever, and behind closed doors they struggle.
Yeah.
Because essentially they are just human beings.
Yeah. I mean, and I think that, you know, back to what we were saying, you know, I kind of can, you know, relate everything back to the core constituents of these hormones that we talked about. We talked about serotonin, and that kind of need for approval. And, you know, a lot of professional sportsmen, footballers, boxers, they get it at a very early age, and they get it in a huge quantity.
Yeah.
So I think it's really difficult for them to deal with when they retire and they come out of the limelight a bit. And, you know, how can you you recreate that on a day-to-day basis, where you've walked into stadiums of 100,000 people and everyone's chanting your name, and it's so those are the sort of, a lot of people think, oh, I'd love to be that, but every story has kind of there's a whole story behind it as well.
Yeah, a story has a story. Yeah, I've always said that. I'd love the financial freedom without the fame.
Really, yeah, and the pressure. Yeah, I mean, I think
I have neither. Yeah,
Yeah.
but no, it's I can't imagine how. Just not being able to walk down the street must be shit.
Yeah, I mean, and that's what I think Jimmy Carr said something quite interesting is like people are jealous of the outcome and not the process.
Of course.
And that goes back to what we say about it's not what he says, it's not the pursuit of happiness, it's the happiness of the pursuit.
Yeah.
Having stuff isn't great. Getting stuff is great. It's the process of getting stuff. But that's it,
isn't it? And you see it all the time, as an example, just going back to sort of my social media, not the podcast one, but my one.
Yeah.
Has had, I think, 1.8 million views in the past 30 days.
Wow. Well done, mate.
99% from non-followers.
Really?
Yeah. And you just think, oh, hold on. So you've got a bunch of people who want to see what you're up to all the time, see what you're doing, and obviously mine is just focused around sport, men's mental health, exercise, etc. All the things that I love and believe in. Obviously Odin is in there. But it is funny, isn't it? Because I saw this other sort of thing the other day, and it was like all your friends on social media will support your new coffee shop with a Starbucks cup in their hand.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's
so until you become the Starbucks, people aren't interested. Apart from a very small amount.
Yeah.
But you've got, It's...
I mean that's interesting. I mean that's a whole different topic around.
It is. That's a whole different topic.
Supporting independent and all that sort of thing.
Yeah.
But yeah,
that's
interesting.
That's probably a whole different podcast actually as well. But it is interesting, and it's, I think from a mental health perspective, it's really important to be cheerleaders for each other.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's all well and good to go and an Instagram post of someone whose birthday it is that you've never met, but they've got 1 million followers. But you won't say happy birthday to someone who you were more than happy to go for a beer with, 6 weeks ago, let's say.
Yeah,
that's not an example from
it's
my
my birthday
side.
on Friday, by the way. So
is it really?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Oh, how old? Just so everyone knows what card to
get. I'll be
under 38.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you're younger than me.
Yeah, 30. I'll be 36. Yeah.
Oh, you're way younger than me, mate.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I'm 38. Yeah, no. I know I don't look it.
No, you don't.
I know I look fantastic.
You look fantastic. No. Right. Good skincare routine, obviously.
Yeah, it's a dark skin, mate. Doesn't crack.
Olive
skin. Yeah, exactly. I'll thank my dad for that one actually, because my mum's blonde, green eyes, and sort of very, very pale white.
Oh, really? Fair skin.
Yeah, red, depending on what time of year it is. And I know she's listening to this, so sorry about that, Mum. Yeah, mate. I'm just conscious of the time.
Yeah.
Because we're pretty much at the same time as last time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I wonder whether we covered everything.
Depends how bored people get, whether they make it this far.
Yeah, I know.
It's the first guest episode I've ever done, so I had no idea what I was doing. Even more so, no idea what I was doing with a guest than I do when I do a solo episode. So it's all a learning curve.
Mate, yeah, it's fantastic. I mean, as I said, I think it's fantastic what you're doing.
I really appreciate it, mate.
There's a good phrase that I heard a while ago. Imperfect action beats perfect inaction.
Absolutely.
And as far as I'm concerned, the whole issue with the non-recording of the last one is just a lesson in the process.
We've had a full week, so I think we'll both go, because I've got a couple that I can answer. But what has helped you hold on this week?
I mean, I think it's been an interesting week for me because it's actually at some parts it's been a real challenge mentally, and a lot of the stuff that we discussed last week, I was actually finding myself having to really, take my own advice on it and really dig deep and follow the process. I think first and foremost, my wife, just having someone to come home that loves you, that won't judge you, and is just there. She's long suffering. You talked about how your mood impacts and stuff, and I'm certainly aware of monitoring my mental well-being and the impact it's having on those around me.
What's her name, sorry?
Charlie.
Shout out to Charlie.
Yeah, shout out
well
to
done
Charlie.
for putting up with Ed.
Yeah, she deserves a medal, to be fair. But also, I would, and I'm not saying this facetiously or to big you up or anything, but actually knowing that we're going to come and have a chat today,
I felt this as well.
It just gives you something to focus on. There's something I feel like. It's something that I can talk about. I've had some experiences. I hope it can help other people. I enjoy sitting and talking to you. I enjoy talking about this stuff because I think it's interesting, selfishly. And if I can just talk about it with someone and other people can hear it and benefit from it in some way, then I think that's fantastic.
Yeah, awesome. I think they're great. I think for me, one of them is exactly the same as yours. It was that I was really excited to sit down and have a chat with you again this week. But then also the same as you, I had, not last week, but the 2 weeks before that, I was really struggling with, I felt like I was taking too much on. I felt overwhelmed. The podcast didn't work, but then I was rushing it, all these things. So what helped me hold on this past week, was definitely knowing that this is coming up and it's going to be so much better than before. I just knew it. I just knew it was going to be better, and it has been, and hopefully this all works.
Touch wood.
Yeah. The other thing that's helped me hold on this week, on Monday, the CEO, the chief pharmacist at the Royal Marsden Cancer Hospital did the grand opening of the new aseptic suite, and I invited a guest, also called Chloe. So not my Chloe, but my friend Chloe and her dad Paulie. And Chloe has cancer and she's going through chemo at the moment and physio and is a patient at the Royal Marsden. And it was just so amazing to have them come along as a guest and see where chemo is manufactured, where the clinical trials are completed. And for me to be part of that and see the impact it will have on people, positive impact, should I say, that was just amazing. And that was the main thing that made me realise how minor a bit of audio on a podcast was.
Mates. I mean, the key word with all of this is perspective.
That's exactly the right word. Yeah.
And the more you can, put things in perspective, and this is something that I think we covered last time. We didn't quite talk about it now, but I do always find that going and exercising or playing team sport somehow manages to just put things into perspective. Because your head can be whirring around with all the problems, and you go and you focus on that session or you focus on that game and you're not thinking about anything else. And then after the session or the game, all of those problems that you're worrying about, they're still potentially there, but they just seem a lot more insignificant.
Well, they're manageable as well.
A lot more insignificant. And a lot of it, I think, is around perspective. So I think that's probably a good note to end on that.
Yeah, definitely. So basically, massive shout out to Charlie for putting up with Ed.
Yeah.
Massive shout out to my friend Chloe Zarb for just being inspirational. And massive shout out to Paulie, Chloe's dad, for just being such an amazing father and a friend of mine now.
Amazing.
Yeah. And sorry, just one last one. I also shout out to Ashley, who is also a dad at the Royal Marsden,
Right.
and his daughter Luciana, who is, I believe she is 9 years old. I might be wrong, so apologies to you guys if I am. But she has just had a stem cell transplant and was in isolation for 6 weeks. And I got a message to say she was going home on Friday for the weekend and is doing really well. So shout out to those guys as well.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely awesome, mate.
Yeah.
That is,
It's just so good to hear.
yeah, very inspiring.
Yeah. Awesome, man.
Great.
Thanks so much.
Mate.